Director Generals of the various agencies under the Ministry of Information and National Orientation with us. In no particular order, we have with us the Director General of the largest network service in the whole of Africa, the Nigerian Television Authority, Comrade Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos. We have with us the Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Muhammad Bulama. We have with us also the Managing Director of the News Agency of Nigeria, Malam Ali M. Ali. We have with us the Director General of the Voice of Nigeria, Malam Jibril Baba Ndache. We have with us also the Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Mr. Charles Ebwebo. Honorable Minister, it will please you to know that we also have some of the partners of the ministry with us this morning. Permit me to recognize the President and Chairman of Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Ike Neleaku, Fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. In that same vein, we have the President of the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers with us this morning, Malam Dalami Modu, MNI. We also have with us the Executive Director of Development Specs Academy with us, Professor Oke Okechukwu is with us this morning. We also have with us the Chief Executive Officer of Future Now Initiative and the former Commissioner of Information Adamawa State, Malam Ahmad Sajo. As soon as we have other names of dignitaries here, we'll run those introductions. But to bring this event open, I would like at this time to invite the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation to please address the members of the press. Please, a round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Information.
Thank you, Calvin. Good morning, my dear colleagues. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Abdulaziz, heads of agencies under the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation. I can see DG NTA, FRCN, Managing Director, News Agency of Nigeria, DG Voice of Nigeria, DG National Broadcasting Commission, and our partners, the President of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Ike Neleaku, the President of the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, my friend, my brother, Dalami, the representative of the President of the Nigerian Union of Journalists and the Nigerian Guild of Editors here present, the Executive Director of Development Specs Academy, our own Professor Oke Okechukwu, our partner and veteran information manager Malam Ahmed Sajo, and all my colleagues here, good morning. Let me first explain why the venue has changed today. Because of the work that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing at Radio House, the National Press Center is undergoing a massive renovation to align it with the vision of Mr. President to make the press center world standard. And so we expect that the press center will be ready sometime in February next year, where we hope to return all our press briefings. We want it to look like a real press center, courtesy of the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let me also thank you once again, as I always do, for answering our call, for coming to answer our invitation to hear from us what this administration has been able to achieve in 2025 and what 2026 holds for us. This is consistent with the mandate of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that information flows all the time from government to the citizens and vice versa. And that is why we at the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, we have made it a point of duty consistent with our core mandate to ensure that Nigerians are kept informed at all time on the programs and policies of this administration. This press briefing, therefore, is one of such events for the end of the year so that we can have a recap of all that this administration has been able to achieve and what is in store for Nigerians, God willing, in 2026, which is just a few days away. So I am not going to bore you with too much grammar today. What I'm going to do is to go delve into the issues to tell Nigerians what is it that this administration has been able to do. Distinguished colleagues, it is appropriate to start this end of the year press conference by re-amplifying the good news that came to all Nigerians yesterday from the Office of the National Security Advisor. This is the news that all of you have heard by now, that abducted, the remaining part of the abducted school children and their teachers from St. Mary's Catholic School in Papri in Niger State. 130 of them all have been rescued and they have been handed over to the government of Niger State for examination before onward handing over to their various families. Now, this brings to total the entire 230 of these school children that have been abducted. Recall that the first batch of 100 of them have been reunited with their families. So in total, no one is left in captivity from the event that has happened at St. Mary's Catholic School in Papri in Niger State. I thought that I will get some clap at this point. Now, also recall that the abducted people in the church in Kwara State have since been reunited with their families, and those in Kebbi State have also been reunited with their families. Now, it's a sad one. No one wants to see anybody, our school children or anybody for that matter, being abducted in any part of this country. And let me reassure you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given a charge to the security agencies to ensure that this does not happen again. And where it unfortunately happened, there will be full disclosure and there will also be a swift response to ensure that no one goes away with any kidnapped member of the Nigerian society. In this joyous season, the federal government empathizes with the parents of the pupils for the anguish that this abduction has caused them and wishes them a pleasant family reunion, a good healing process, and compliments of the season and Merry Christmas to all of them. I stand before you today, like I said earlier, on the directive of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to review the outgoing year, account for the trust you placed in this administration, and to present an unequivocal blueprint for the year ahead. Let me present some of these highlights. And like I said, I'm going to delve into these issues, not too much grammar on them. First, our gross domestic product, that's GDP, grew by 3.98% in the third quarter of 2025, demonstrating resilient and sustained expansion in the non-oil sector. Significantly, headline inflation has now declined for 8 consecutive months to stand at 14.45% in November 2025. Food inflation, as you also know, is also on a steady downward trend. Our external reserves have strengthened to approximately $44.56 billion, providing a robust buffer that stabilizes our currency and assures international investors of the seriousness of this administration to reposition its economy. Nigeria has recorded a trade surplus also in 2025 of 6.69 trillion in the third quarter of 2025, which represents a 27.29% growth year on year. The most recent Purchasing Managers Index, what is called the PMI data, an important measure of business sentiment, indicates that Nigeria now has seen 12 consecutive months of expansion in economic activities. 12 consecutive months. On March 4, 2025, Nigeria recorded a maximum daily energy of 128.3 megawatt hours nationwide, the highest ever in the history of this country. This has happened in March of 2025. Also in the power sector, 2025 saw the kickoff of the Presidential Metering Initiative, as well as the issuance of the first bond under the Presidential Power Sector Debt Reduction Program, the single largest coordinated financial intervention in the history of the power sector in this country. Also, and this is very important, a massively oversubscribed Eurobond issuance, attracting orders amounting to a 400% increase of the target of 2.3 billion US dollars. The target was 2.3 billion dollars. We had a 400% oversubscription of that, demonstrating a strong investor confidence in our macroeconomic reforms. Also this year, Nigeria exited the Financial Action Task Force grey list, the FATF. Now, this reflects a sustained and coordinated reforms in combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and other financial crimes, and marking the start of a new reputational and operational chapter to our financial sector. This is very important. The last few years, Nigeria has been under that watch list of the Financial Action Task Force. Now, what has that done to our economy? It has limited our capacity to trade internationally and also affected our own reputation as a country to do business with other people around the world. That is now a thing of the past. President Tinubu in 2025 has also approved the recapitalization of the Bank of Agriculture to the tune of 1.5 trillion naira. This is the biggest single boost to agricultural financing in our recent history. $1.5 trillion to the Bank of Agriculture. We committed to deploying over 1.5 trillion naira investments in road infrastructure in 2025 alone, the largest such commitment in our nation's history, based on our firm belief that our economy cannot grow faster than the infrastructure that supports it. At the heart of this effort are 4 legacy highway projects engineered to connect every region and unlock all new economic corridors in the length and breadth of this country. And I'm going to list them now. The first one is the 750-kilometer Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, linking our entire southern coastline. There is also the 1,068-kilometer Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway that is bridging the northwest to the southwest of this country. There is also the 477-kilometer Trans-Saharan Highway that traverses from Calabar to the FCT here. There is also the 422-kilometer Akwanga-Jos Bauchi-Gombe Expressway, integrating the north-central and the northeastern part of this country. These are not conventional roads. They are being built with reinforced concrete pavement designed to last for at least 50 to 100 years, drastically cutting down the cost of maintenance. Nigerian. For our young people, 2025 has been a bumper year in targeted and catalytic policy making implementation plan. The first one is Nigeria Education Loan NEL Fund, the popular NEL Fund, which has now supported over 788,000 Nigerian students with interest-free loans and stipends amounting to over 150 billion naira and still counting. Now, the desire of the president is that any young man or woman of school-going age should be left out of school simply on the account of the inability of parents or guardians to pay for tuition and also to pay for upkeep. You don't need to know anybody to connect with NEL Fund. Over 788,000 Nigerian students have already benefited from this, and the president is not stopping. He is going to continue to do this. Just imagine 788,000 of these students out of school today. The federal government of Nigeria's investment in digital and creative enterprise, what is called the IDICE program, officially also kicked off during the current year 2025, with an anchor investment in a new multi-million-dollar venture fund that will support the creative and digital entrepreneurship aspirations of young Nigerians. Also for the young people, in 2025, the federal government launched the Student Venture Capital Grant, what is called the SVCG. This is offering equity-free financing of up to 50 million naira for undergraduate innovators in science, in technology, and engineering. Also in the bracket is mathematics, medicine, and other related disciplines. This is across all the accredited tertiary institutions around the country. With this new intervention, we are nurturing the seeds of entrepreneurship in our campuses and turning our brightest minds into job creators and not job seekers. There is also the 3 million technical talent, what is called the 3MTT program, which has made significant progress during this year as it builds Africa's largest digital army. On security, in the era of security in 2025, we saw the presidential declaration of a nationwide security emergency that will, in the months ahead, translate into massive recruitment into the armed forces and the police force. And this also includes the deployment of trained and equipped forest guards to secure our forests and other vulnerable locations. What we used to have in the past is that there are dark spots within our forests that are largely unmanned, and that's creating safe haven for these terrorists and criminal elements. With this kind of recruitment and this declaration by Mr. President, there will be no hiding place for all these criminals and these terrorists hiding again in our forests. We have also in 2025 a new national counter-terrorism doctrine that is anchored on 4 critical pillars: united command, intelligence, community stability, and counterinsurgency. Now, I want you also to remember that in 2025, two of the most internationally wanted criminals, the ISWAP head residing in Nigeria, has been captured through the coordination of all the security agencies and those also in the intelligence community. Don't forget that Abu Bara was captured a few months ago, and he was also presented to the public by the National Security Advisor and other security chiefs. Now, this is one of the most wanted terrorists on the African continent, and he was captured through the coordination of our security forces. Remember also, this was someone who had a large sum of money put on his head by even the Americans to capture him and bring him to justice. As we speak today, this gentleman, together with his chief of staff, are having their day in court, and they are going to get justice that befits them. Let me clear about what this means. That henceforth, any armed group that kidnaps our children, that attacks our farmers, that terrorizes our communities, is officially classified and will be dealt with as a terrorist organization, any individual or any group. This is the declaration that Mr. President has made. Now, the era of ambiguous nomenclature is over. If you terrorize our people, whether you are a group or you are an individual, you are a terrorist and you'll be classified as such. There is no any name hiding under this again. Nigeria is also now a respected player on the global stage. And I will prove this one. In 2025, and all of you are aware of this, we navigated a very complex international diplomacy with maturity and also with principle and with dignity that Nigerians are known for. For example, the recent diplomatic spat with the United States has been largely resolved through a firm, respectful engagement culminating in a strengthened partnership between America and Nigeria. Let me say it here, that what has happened, as bad as it was, has also helped to strengthen the kind of collaboration that Nigeria is having with the United States of America, especially in the area of security, making sure that Nigerians live free of these crime and criminal elements. As a further demonstration of this, and only a few days ago, the federal government of Nigeria signed a 5-year, $5.18 billion health cooperation memorandum of understanding with the United States of America. So, for those who are thinking that Nigeria's relationship with the United States has been damaged, there is a further proof, only a few days ago, of this cooperation agreement signed between Nigeria and the United States. Now, what is in that MOU? The United States will provide $2.18 billion in grant funding, while Nigeria will contribute $3 billion. This has been described as the largest co-investment by any country to date under the America First Global Health Strategy. This will strengthen Nigeria's healthcare system, it will save lives, and it also attract investment. Now, we had some people saying that the American government was talking about only saving a particular religion in this country. What is contained in that MOU, and no particular religion was mentioned, is that there is this kind of cooperation, multi-faith cooperation amongst all Nigerians, meaning that every Nigerian is going to be a beneficiary of this arrangement. Indeed, Nigeria is no longer on the sidelines. We are confident. We are a confident and strategic partner on the global stage, defending our national interest and attracting beneficial partnerships. Just last month, we regained our Category C seat on the International Maritime Organization IMA Council for the 2026-2027 biennium. It is a celebrated welcome back following a 14-year absence. Also in 2025, various Nigerians assumed significant international positions across various sectors, including the chairperson of the Council of the World Customs Organization, the executive director of the World Health Organization's Health Emergencies Program, and the vice chair of the International Telecommunications Union, the ITU Council, and also the vice president of the International Association for Ports and Harbors in Tokyo. Additionally, this year, 2025, we secured the hosting rights for the Creative African Nexus, what is called the CANEX 2026, and the Intra-African Trade Fair, IATF 2027, one of the largest trade gatherings on the African continent. So, where are those who are saying that Nigeria is losing its position on the international stage? Nigeria is not losing. Nigeria is actually gaining its seat back on the international stage, on the international table, across various sectors. In 2026, again, our newly appointed ambassadors will take up their post in their countries of assignment. Of course, their clearance and confirmation has just been made by the National Assembly. This is strengthening our bilateral relations and advancing our visibility and strategic engagement in the global community. Before this time, we have had cries and complaints and agitations for ambassadors to be put on their post. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has fulfilled that, and for the remaining part, that will be carried out in 2026. In the media and information and communication space, and this is the one that should interest you, ladies and gentlemen here. This year, Nigeria secured the hosting rights for both the 2026 World Public Relations Forum and the 2026 African Public Relations Association's Conference. Now, this is a gathering of all the leaders from around the world in the public relations and communication space. All of them have agreed through the effort of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, and other government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other government agencies, with the active support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The world will come to Nigeria again in 2026. And let me emphasize that we made history by these two singular acts, by becoming only the second African country to ever host the WPRF, the World Public Relations Forum. It's the second time any African country will be hosting that, and it is coming to Nigeria. And the first ever, this is the first ever time that any country on the African continent will host both the APRA conference and the World Public Relations Forum in the same year. It has never happened before. Let me also say that we have also received official affirmation from UNESCO for the hosting right granted to Nigeria for the world's first Media Information Literacy Institute. And I'm delighted to note that the institute will officially take off from Abuja here in the first quarter of 2026. The 2026 budget, which is actually a blueprint for security and prosperity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just last week, to end the year on a very high note, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented the 2026 appropriation bill to the National Assembly, that is aptly named Budget of Consolidation, Renewed Resilience and Shared Prosperity. At 58.18 trillion naira, this is a budget of historic ambition and focus, featuring, amongst other things, the following: One is the largest ever capital expenditure allocation of 26.08 trillion naira for tangible infrastructure, roads, rail, power, and ports. 26.08 trillion. Two, it is the single biggest allocation of 5.41 trillion to defense and security, a direct investment in protecting lives, property and prosperity through modern equipment for our armed forces, a new national intelligence architecture, and a secure digital border surveillance system. This indicates to you that Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is putting a renewed focus on the security of lives and property of all Nigerians. And his promise is that in 2026, Nigeria is going to witness a very secure country by the grace of God. This budget, this 2026 budget that was just presented by Mr. President, is funded by very prudent assumptions. One, oil is at 64.85 barrel, $64.85 per barrel. Sorry. Production is at 1.84 million barrels per day, and an exchange rate that is put at 1,400 naira. We will fund the deficit through an aggressive digitized revenue mobilization drive, ensuring that every liable entity pays its fair share without imposing unfair burden on anyone. President Tinubu has also vowed that 2026 will see a full unification of our existing budget cycles, and we will henceforth operate on a single unified budget that is backed by a single revenue cycle. This is the promise of Mr. President. This, of course, is an answer to the people who are saying we're having multiple budgets operating within the same year. That has come to an end with the budget that Mr. President has presented to the National Assembly. That budget sets the stage for a year in which the landmark new tax reform laws will go into operation. This will usher in an era of fiscal growth and a deepening of the social contract between the government and the people of Nigeria. We call for the understanding of Nigerians in this regard, as it promises to be a new era of accountability in revenue generation and government expenditure. Of course, you hear all kinds of talk related to that budget, that tax regime that is coming into effect in January of 2026. But the promise of Mr. President is that there will be accountability in revenue generation, and there will also be prudent expenditure by government to justify that reform in the first place. My conclusion is this, my dear colleagues: the journey of 2025 was one of reinforcing and strengthening the foundations of the Nigerian economy. The mission of 2026 is to raise the edifice of a secure, competitive, and prosperous Nigeria upon that. In 2025, we were reinforcing those foundations. In 2026, we are raising a solid edifice of a secure, competitive, and prosperous Nigeria on that very solid foundation. The temporary pains of reforms are yielding to permanent gains. President Tinubu's vision for Nigeria is big, his strategy is unambiguous, and his resolve is unshakable. We are consolidating stability. We are protecting our homeland. We are empowering our youth. We are building a nation where every citizen has the agency to thrive and to succeed in this country. This is the Nigeria that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is building, together with all of you, together with all Nigerians. there is indeed in the horizon a Nigeria that is truly on the move, a Nigeria that will be a darling for all those living outside this country. Once again, compliments of the season to all of you, my dear colleagues. Happy Christmas and the New Year ahead. I promised you that I was not going to bore you with grammar, and I think I didn't. All I did was to present to you facts. If you want to counter this, please counter us on facts, not on emotions. Nigeria is on the rise truly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can we please give the Honorable Minister a round of applause? Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you. You may please be seated. Thank you. So at this time, we'll take questions from members of the press. But before then, permit me, I omitted a very important part of the dignitaries that we have here with us. Permit me to recognize the respected directors in the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation with us this morning. Thank you very much for coming, Sir Zama. Also have the members of the APC support group with us this afternoon. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Without wasting any much time, we'll move straight to questions from the members of the press. You know the drill. State your name for the record purpose and straight to the question. I think we'll take the first 3 questions, and as the Honorable Minister's permit, we'll go. So, number 1, can we just raise those hands a bit higher so that I can see them from here? Number 2, the gentleman on blue. Okay, I can't see any other hand. All right, so we'll work with these 2.
Honorable Minister, sir, my name is Abdurrahman Abdurraouf. I work with Blueprint newspaper. Well, report well rendered, no doubt about it. But 2 questions bordering on this terrorism tax. On tax revenue, on this tax, initiative which is scheduled to take off January 1. There are concerns from the National Assembly that what they passed was not what was signed by Mr. President. What is the executive really doing to address that area? That's the first part of the questions. Then the second leg has to do with terrorism. Again, the NBA, yes, the federal government is determined. You are putting kidnapping and any armed group targeting our children, like you rightly said. For me, I want them, damaged, killed. But the NBA is raising a very serious concern that it is very dangerous for us to do that. Must we remain on this pedestal of killing in the name of some human rights? Are you talking to the NBA? Are you calling them so that you can sit together? Let them see reasons with us, because there won't be any basis for somebody to kill my relations. And in the name of not killing people or not making it a general thing, you now say, okay, those people should not be killed. They should not be put on the same pedestal with terrorists. I'm talking of these kidnappers and armed gangs who torture their victims. Thank you, sir, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. We'll take the next question on that table, and the Honorable Minister will address them.
Good morning, Minister. My name is Anayo Chukwabu. I work for Tel Magazine, and I have just 3 small questions. The first one re-echoes what my brother just said. In the tax laws, with the controversy we are hearing from the National Assembly, would you mind confirming which of the versions that you will be implementing from 2026? Then on the issue of budget, presently we are running two budgets simultaneously, that is 2024 and 2025. And now we are going to add 2026. You haven't told us the budget performance of the two we are running simultaneously now. So can you please further tell us how these three budgets will be successfully implemented in 2026? Then the US agreement, the partnership that they would do 2.8 and we will do 3 trillion. What are the details? What is US going to provide? And what is Nigeria going to provide? Then finally, you forgot to mention the cooperation with France. Would you please tell us exactly what France is doing at the FRS sector, at the revenue sector? We used to know French working in Nigeria under the cultural group, staging concerts and music performance. And then this is at a time when France is not popular in West Africa, where Nigeria plays a leading role. So why would Nigeria be hugging France when the rest of West Africa, especially the Francophone West African countries, are running away from France? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The minister will now respond.
Thank you very much. The first one is from Abraouf. He had two questions. One was on the tax. He asked which one was passed and which one is a true reflection of the document that we have prepared for 2026. To be honest with you, I have not seen the two versions. All I know is that the executive has presented something to the National Assembly. It was processed, it was passed, it was returned to the executive. What I heard is that the National Assembly members have seen some discrepancy and they have set up their own committee to look at those discrepancies. I think it is important for us to wait for the National Assembly to look at this again to tell us that yes, indeed, there were discrepancies or not. This is, as at this point, an affair of the National Assembly to which I have no jurisdiction and I have no, the authority to speak about. Let's wait for this from the National Assembly, and then if we require to make further clarifications, we can. But at this point, we know that a tax document has been put forward to the National Assembly. They have worked on it and they have returned it, and it has been passed, it has been signed into law. There is also the issue of terrorism and the Nigerian Bar Association, maybe talking about some human rights or whatever. Now, I'm not aware of the specific thing you want to talk about, but what I can say is that I cannot see human rights where somebody, for example, comes into this room and starts shooting at people. I don't know how human rights will stop you first. First, I think, is to defend yourself. And Nigeria has to defend itself as a country, observing the highest standards of procedure. All our armed forces are trained, they are having collaboration with their international partners, and they are following strict protocols of engagement with terrorists or whoever they are engaging with. And I think that we must commend the Nigerian security agencies for observing that. But where there are specific issues, I want to believe that the security agencies, the high command of security agencies will address those issues. But for now, I know that they are trained, the Nigerian security agencies are well trained, they are also observing strict protocols of engagement. If indeed there are areas of complaints or disagreements about how they engage, I want to believe that this will be taken up in specific terms and will be dealt with appropriately. This is tied to also the question on the tax, which the man from Tel magazine has also talked about which version. As far as the government of Nigeria is concerned, there is only one version of that tax document. Again, like I said earlier, if the National Assembly is able to establish, because they have set up also a small committee to look into that. So let's wait for the outcome of that. Now he talked about the budget cycle. And I think if you listen to me attentively while I was speaking, what I was saying was that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is determined to end all these multiple budgeting system within a given period. And that is why he has promised, and he mentioned it on the floor of the National Assembly, that there will be one 2026 budget that will operate within that time frame. Now, there is also a question about the U.S. agreement with Nigeria concerning the health sector. If you also listen very well, I mentioned that the United States government is going to contribute about $2.1 billion, and the remaining $3 billion will be provided as counterpart funding for Nigeria. And this is the biggest kind of collaboration within the health sector that even the United States has engaged upon. I think what is instructive is that at a point that people believe that America has turned its back on Nigeria, America is indeed coming back to Nigeria, re-engaging with Nigeria in multiple fronts. In security, you saw the congressional leaders when they came here. You saw the kind of comments that they have made. You also saw that there is another push by the American government to collaborate with Nigeria in the health sector to drive health reform in this country. So the most important thing for me is that window of opportunity to re-engage with the United States of America for the benefit of our own people, having respect for each other, having respect for our constitution and for our traditions and for our culture. I think these are so. Then there was a point about France cooperation. There is a mention that at the time that everyone is running away from France, Nigeria is an open country. Nigeria is a country that has partnerships with everyone around the globe and will continue to maintain and seek cooperation by all members of the international community in the interest of Nigeria for our security, for our growth, and for the overall prosperity of our country. This is my answer to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, can we take one more?
If there is one more, let me take one more.
Let's just take one more. I think Mr. Sonny Daniels will have that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for having this session to explain the key activities, policies, and programs that the federal government has undertaken to give Nigerians some space for breathing. And it helps to take this message to Nigerians. Though it feels that the government can still do more to bring down the cost of living, to give more relief to Nigerians, especially at this festive period. Let me draw your attention to the issue you missed. The point is that the Nigerian Bar Association is frontally opposed to the imposition of death penalty for kidnapping, mass abductions. And that's what my colleague, Anayo, was drawing your attention to, and to find out how the federal government feels about that position. Because NBA, National Human Rights Commission, all of them are opposed to death penalty for kidnapping and abductions. There is this federal government into Safe School Initiative, and some huge amount of money, I would have expected you to, if this money, how was it used? Since particularly school children, has continued unabated. What happened to that scheme, Safe School Initiative? Federal government. Was the money used? How was it used? And to have children. Thank you. You may wish to address that, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was looking for the microphone that was here. Thank you for your comments and for the clarifications again that you have made. What I can tell you is that Nigerian government acts strictly within our laws. Nigerian government will not do anything that is not consistent with the laws of the Federation. If there is the need to adapt or to modify these laws, we have the National Assembly to consult and to take there so that we can have a response. But for now, it is important to say that Nigeria, as a sovereign country, has its laws and is being governed by these laws. And all the operators, including the security agencies, are acting within the ambit, within the parameters of those laws. Now, the Safe School Initiative and why are there mass abductions? I think that we should be very optimistic. And that is the optimism that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to share with Nigerians. We have had this very unfortunate situation in the past. We do not hope to see that there will be continuous mass abduction in our schools going forward. This is not the prayer, and there is so much that government is doing to see that that has abated. Recall that when this happened, the federal government even had to close down some of its unity schools. But I'm happy to announce that some of these, about unity schools, about 44 of them have actually resumed even before the Yuletide. Now, what that indicates to me is that there is a progression towards normalcy and stability amongst our schools, which the federal government will continue to consolidate as we go into 2026. You talked about what will happen to the monies that were. Of course, if you don't provide a service, the way government works, government does not give you money to go and provide. If you provide service, you get paid for that service. If that service is not provided, the normal thing is that you don't get paid about that. I don't think that the federal government will just continue to throw away money even when that service is not being carried out. If there are specific issues related to specific areas or schools, I want to believe that the federal government of Nigeria will address those matters specifically. But there is no wholesale approach to continue to throw in money where services are not provided. Now, cost of living, yes, is important, and the president has been consistent also on this. His desire is that the cost of living for the ordinary Nigerian continues to come down. This is what he is actively working in day and night. And the budget of 2026, if you look at parts of that, is also specifically targeting those while also providing the security of lives and property that you need, that all Nigerians require for there to be prosperity, for there to be development within Nigeria. And I want to assure you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will continue to work down to cut down on the cost of living of all Nigerians. Let us be hopeful. Let us also be supportful, have support for the president in his drive to ensure that this happens in 2026. I think optimism is very critical for nation building, and we need to adopt that going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Indeed, you've spoken well. Well done, sir. Thank you. Permit me to recognize the presence of the National President of the Radio, Television, Theatre and Arts Workers Union of Nigeria, Retau, the President of Prince Emeka Kalu. Thank you for coming today. We appreciate you. With that, we'll bring this event to a close. Special appreciation goes to our media partners who have carried this press conference live. We have the Nigerian Television Authority, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Arise TV, TVC, AIT channels, and the list goes on and on. Thank you very much for your service. So I just have a brief announcement to make before we wrap this up. The dignitaries, the Honorable Minister, accompanied by the Permanent Secretary. All right. The Honorable Minister, accompanied by the Permanent Secretary, as well as the Director Generals and those in the front row, will make their way to the VIP room where they are launched. All right. In a walk like this, we are always redirected. So we'll bring this event to a close, and then a further announcement will be made after we're closed with this session. So will you please rise as we take the national pledge to bring this press conference to a close. At the count of 2, 1, 2. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity and uphold her honor and glory, so help me God.